What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well. Trying to get more frequent with the uploads on the channel. I wanted to upload a couple weeks ago, but the weather in South Carolina has been pretty crazy here recently. We had an ice storm come through and put a good amount of ice on the roads. And then last weekend we got 7.5 inches of snow in my area, which may not sound like a lot for some of you other people that live up north, but for South Carolina, that's a crazy amount of snow. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to be going over the Yellow Genesis and the status of it currently, all the modifications that have been made to it, and basically where it sits now, since you haven't seen it a lot on the channel in a while. I'm actually filming this video in the middle of another video where we're doing a turbo upgrade on this car. So at this time, actually both of my Genesis are just naturally aspirated 3.8s. So the turbo is out of this car, and it should be arriving, the new one, in hopefully a week or so. And that should be the next video on the channel. But for today, we're going to be focusing on this bad girl and going over everything that has been done to it and where it sits now since the previous video. Yep, so just so everyone is aware, for those of you that may be new to the channel, this is my 2010 Genesis Coupe 3.8. This is a track edition, so it comes with the Brembos and the limited slip differential. It's got the sunroof, and originally came with leather heated seats. Those are no longer in the car. But starting off on the front for the exterior cosmetic modifications, we do have a set of Spec-D racing headlights. This one actually has HID headlight bulbs for the Spec-Ds. Down below we have a set of smoked fog lights that have LED bulbs in them, and the surrounds for the fog light bezels are carbon fiber for the front end here. I've got a eBay front lip. This one is not one that I see a whole lot of people run, but I do like this style, and it is color matched to the yellow of the car. And then on the front here as well, we've got a carbon fiber grille that helps to really, I think, tie the whole front end together. For a while, I just had an upgraded aftermarket, just black front grille, but I think the carbon really ties in well with the carbon fog light bezels and the carbon hood. So you'll see behind the carbon grille, we do have a set of 6-speed horns, kind of like the Hella horn style, and they are in yellow. And then just below, we do have a honeycomb mesh grille that was custom made by myself to match the honeycomb in the fog light bezels. So that all ties together really nicely. On the sides here, we have some custom canards that I made myself. And the bottom is wrapped in a carbon vinyl, and the top is just in a flat black. But I think it helps to kind of accentuate the wide body kit with the front of the car, since I'm not running the little front bumper pieces that come with the Monster Service V1 wide body kit. And I think it just helps add a little bit more aggression to the front end. Moving our way down, we do have a Carbon Creations carbon fiber hood. This hood I've had for a while. I got it for a pretty good deal, and had to re-clear it a couple times, but for the price I paid for it, I am not going to get rid of this thing for a while. I know I could go and get a nicer one that doesn't have these sort of imperfections with it, but it doesn't really bother me. And I do have the yellow wrap to kind of tie in and not have the full hood be carbon. It helps to break up the carbon with the yellow. I think it is very unique for this style. I know a lot of people will run carbon hood and have the vents exposed carbon and the hood actually paint matched, but I haven't seen many people do it this way, and I think it's just a unique look to the front end of the car. As we move down the sides, I do have a set of Inky RPF 1s. It is a square 18 by 10.5 setup for the front and the rear. Behind that, I've got drilled and slotted rotors, obviously the stock Brembos, and I'm now running the EBC yellow stuff brake pads, which those things are crazy. You can stop on a dime with those pads. I'll say the only downside to the EBC yellow stuff is they are a bit noisy, and they can create a good amount of dust, which is less than ideal for white wheels, but it's not terrible, and it's, you know, you can deal with it. I do actually still have my ESR SR08 wheels. I just haven't run them since I decided to switch it up, but I might make this a backup set of wheels or a set of winter wheels, because the tires on this car surprisingly don't do well at all in the cold or the wet. So that might be a good shout for having a set of backups for when it's cold out. And just if anyone was wondering, I am running Pirelli P0 Trofeo Rs for the front and the rear tires. In the front, I've got a 245/40/18, and on the rear, I believe it's a 265/40/18. Yes, 265/40/18. Moving along down the side of the car does have a Monster Service V1 wide body kit. So this is a replacement front fender that is 40 millimeters wider, and then the rear over fenders that are 60 millimeters wider. I've got these carbon fiber side mirror caps. These are the OG style that actually wrap all the way around the side of the mirror. That is in contrast to what I've got on the black car, where these actually stop here on the edge of the inside of the side mirrors. So I think that helps to, like I said, kind of bring all the carbon in with the yellow, and I like the darker side mirror. Don't believe these are still available. I may be mistaken on that, but that's what we got here. On the roof, I've got a carbon fiber vinyl wrap just to kind of break up the colors. And I didn't mind the yellow roof, but I think with the carbon hood, the carbon roof wrap helps to keep everything flowing as you go down the car. Last thing for the side of the car, I do have a set of Street Aero side splitters. Before I did have a custom made set of side splitters, but I went ahead and upgraded to a Street Aero to kind of match the Street Aero rear diffuser we have in the rear. This is kind of a custom set. You can buy the Street Aeros with the winglets for the rear. I actually got the same style but smaller winglets and added them to the front to kind of match the style of the custom ones that I had previously. But you can kind of see how much it steps out. These are the same ones that I have on the black car. These ones just do not have any winglets attached to them. Getting back towards the rear of the car, my gas cap cover is wrapped in the same carbon fiber vinyl that's on the roof. And then I've got this roof spoiler. It's actually kind of a see-through material. You can't really tell, it's very tinted. But this is the normal one that I think most people run when they do a roof spoiler. I did find a different style for the black car. It's actually carbon. I haven't seen many people run this one, but once I got one for this car, I was like, oh, I need to get one for this car. I do like how that looks. For a while, I was kind of on the fence about getting one for this car. So that's kind of all the modifications for the top of the car. As we move towards the rear, it's got factory BK2 style rear tail lights. I love the look of these tail lights, especially on the BK2s. So I didn't really want to change out. Obviously, these look way better than the original tail lights that came on the car for the first generation. I do have spec Ds on this car. Thought about maybe changing to a different style. I actually do have a different aftermarket set of tail lights right over here, but I am very much a fan of the BK2. And if anything, I might modify these ones and smoke them or do the normal Audi mod that people do to these. Now we're at the rear of the car. I've got the Genesis wing badge in like a carbon fiber looking style. And then the Street Aero rear diffuser with the red pinstriping going all down the sides of the rear diffuser. I think that about does it for all the exterior modifications to the car. Maybe aside from the Silverline quad tip exhaust that I do have, but I think that's about it. So we'll go ahead and jump into the interior and show you what that looks like now, because that's probably the place that has changed the most since, you know, this car was regularly being uploaded on the channel a few years ago, and I didn't even have a headliner in the car. So let's check it out now. So I did change out to the BK2 door cards in this gray color to match the gray seats that are in the car. So I think that's kind of unique because these seats never came in this car, and Obviously this car originally came with heated leather seats, but I think the gray contrast is a little bit nicer for what I was going for. As we move into the car, I did get the BK2 black A-pillars and headliner from a 2015. So I think the black looks way better than the tan that originally came in this car. Helps to, you know, update the interior, and I think the darker interior for a sports car looks much better. I guess one other thing is I do have the carbon fiber wrap on the door grabs that, you know, tend to peel on these cars. So I had that on this car and on that car. And I'm sure you saw it as I was panning over, but we do have a carbon fiber steering wheel. I picked this up not too long ago. So it's a carbon fiber steering wheel with the 2011, 2012 buttons. So it's not as contrasting with the silver. This is something that I just recently did, but I kept the silver for the paddle shifters, just so it's more visible. And then I've got the CPE 3-gauge pod top here that deletes this panel. I've got in here a wideband, I've got a water temp, and then I've got a tachometer. This here is a digital GPS speedometer, and then I've got a carbon fiber shift knob for the car, along with the leather sort of manual style shift boot, even though this car obviously isn't automatic. I do have upgraded speakers in the cars as well, door speakers, rear speakers. The system here sounds really good, although I don't really listen to it much because typically I'm just listening to the sound of the engine. But I did with the installation of the headliner, because I never had one before, so my sunroof never worked. Custom wired my sunroof, so now it, you know, works like normal, but it's powered so that you can actually open and close it when the car is off. When from factory, you have to have the key on for ignition. Well, I think that about does it for everything in the interior. I guess I'll just pop the trunk and show you what I have in the trunk. No, I don't have a bag set up or anything. Just I have relocated the battery to the trunk to help move some of that weight to the rear, offset from the driver's weight, which helps to kind of help balance the car better than it is from the factory. I guess the last thing that I will mention is I do have a set of BC Racing BR style coilovers on the car. Before I was running Eibach lowering springs, which worked great, but I think the coilovers having the ability to really dial in the height is much more ideal for a wide body setup like this. So that's, I think, everything from the interior and the exterior. So we'll go ahead and pop the hood and show you what I have going on under there, and then talk about the exhaust setup on this car. Underneath the hood, there's not a whole lot going on. This car is SFR tuned. It was tuned when I bought it, and I think it does great for the car. It's naturally aspirated, so there's not much you can do unless you want to do something like what's done to this car, but it helps to kind of wake up the car, get a better throttle response, that 1-to-1 pedal ratio. Aside from that, I do have a throttle body spacer. Probably soon going to be getting the manifold spacer as well, and I do have an engine cold air intake that pulls in air from back outside of the bumper back down here, and I do have sock over the filter just to kind of prevent, hopefully, any water from being sucked up with the location of the intake. Aside from that, I do have the Excelodyne sort of, you know, battery relocation. It's their small battery kit that typically has a XS style small battery here, but I just use it to kind of relocate the fuse box. I think that's already been discussed on the channel previously. And obviously I have the battery in the rear. Over here I've got a sensor plumbed into the coolant line for the water temp gauge that I have on the interior. This right here is an auto meter tach adapter that converts the tach signal to 12 volt for the tachometer that I have inside of the car. And then right over here, I did used to have a 2-step box hooked up. I think that's probably one of my biggest videos on the channel, but I have since removed the 2-step box just because with the area that I'm in now, didn't really make much sense for me to have it because I wasn't using it. So I have removed that, and actually if anyone's interested in it, I still have it. You send me a message and I'll send it to you for a pretty good price. So now we'll talk about the exhaust setup. You have the factory manifolds on the car still. However, the catalytic converters in the factory headers are gutted. Down from that, I have a set of arc downpipes that are the 2.5 inch, so it helps to widen up from the factory downpipes. Those actually improve the sound a good bit on these cars. And I did have a set of test pipes. Actually, they're right over here, along with a bunch of other spare parts that I have spare parts for Genesis all in this damn shop. But here are the I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, but test pipes that I had on the car. And I think those are maybe ISR. I have removed those and replaced them with a factory set of secondary catalytic converters. I just wanted to test it out, see how it would change the sound. And it's cleaned up the sound a bit. It's not as raspy. It's still very loud, which is ideal for my goals with the car. But it helps to make it a little bit less raspy. I did like the rasp a lot, but I just wanted to try something else out and see how it went. And I'm gonna keep the secondary cats on the car for a little while, and if I decide to go back to the test pipes, I've got them sitting over there waiting. It's quick and easy change to make. So going back from the test pipes, the factory Y pipe is still there. It still has the factory resonator, and then just a muffled relief in the rear. One last thing from the engine bay, I do have the coolant bypass mod for the throttle body, since I live in a relatively warmer environment and don't really have to worry about running coolant to the throttle body, which in a hotter environment actually hurts the power. So that modification is done to this car, as well as that car. Here you can see those BC coilovers on the front. They do have the camber adjustment. I've got that maxed out, as well as some camber bolts on the actual bottom of the strut to really get as much camber as I can for the front end of the car. Well, it looks like it started raining, so might hear a little bit of noise in the background. Sorry about that. But I was looking back at my list, and actually the downpipes in this car are the J2 downpipes, not ARC. ARC is actually the test pipes that I had on the car. Aside from that, the headlights low beams are the HIDs, the high beams are actually LEDs, and then the turn signals are the LED switchbacks, so they're normally a white color, and then they switch to the amber when you actually turn your turn signals on. And I think the last thing that obviously you would have seen if you saw the last video, but this car does have a 4th factory differential mount for the differential in the rear. So it's got 4 mounts for all the 4 locations. You saw that modification done on this car, and it's also done on this car. I want to say that is everything that has been done to this car. There could be a couple things here and there that I'm missing, but that's pretty much it. Aside from the obvious things like tint on the side and the rear only. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this update video on the car. It's definitely come a long way from how it looked when I bought it, let alone in the past few years as I went through the process of rebuilding it. Hopefully the weather will clear up a little bit, and I'll try to get some exhaust videos of the car so you can hear how it sounds with the factory manifolds, gutted catalytic converters, J2 downpipes with secondary cats from the factory, and the stock resonator with the muffler relief. But I hope you're looking forward to the next video on the channel after this, which should hopefully be finish the installation on the Written Performance Supersonic 70 Omega Series Turbo on the 3.8 turbo over here, and seeing how that supersonic compressor housing sounds with the full 4-inch intake that this car has. It should be pretty insane, and I'm looking forward to getting the car retuned once I get that installed. Cold start.